Page 316, number 10. Sketch a graph of the function y equals 1/4 times the secant of x. Okay, to graph this secant curve, first of all, we have to remember secant is 1 over cosine. And I'm just going to start by graphing y equals 1/4 times the cosine of x. Now, we should know by now how to graph something like this. First of all, I'm going to just put a scale on my axes. We'll call this 1, we'll call this -1, and we'll put 2 pi over here, which gives us pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2. Now, my cosine curve will start up here. If I was graphing just y equals the cosine of x, we'd start up here at the point 0, 1. We'd come down to a minimum value, come up, and at 2 pi, we'd start the whole thing again. The 1/4 in front will make our graph only a fourth as tall. So we're actually going to start right here. We will curve down to a minimum value, then curve up, and at 2 pi, be ready to start this graph again. So my graph will look something like this. And it'll continue on forever in both directions. Okay, now that's the graph of y equals 1/4 times the cosine of x. Let's see how that relates to the graph of y equals 1/4 times the secant of x, because secant is 1 over cosine. First of all, any point on that graph where cosine goes through the x-axis, that means the value of cosine is 0. Well, 1 over 0 does not exist, so that means secant does not exist at these points. So to show that, we can put vertical asymptotes through these points. Okay, now the graph of secant, what it's going to do is it's going to approach these asymptotes and also approach this blue graph, this graph of cosine that we had, and just touch it at these maximum and minimum values. So it's just going to touch it here and here and here again. And we're going to see a U shape that approaches these asymptotes but never touches them. So we're going to have something right here as well. And also, we'll run this side. And that black graph there, that is the graph of y equals 1/4 times the secant of x. And we can verify this on our calculator. I'll press the y equals. And we'll start by typing in 1/4. And then you might look at this and say, well, how am I going to type in the secant of x? Well, secant is 1 over cosine, right? So we can type in 1 divided by the cosine of x. We'll close those parentheses. And let's just take a look at what this graph looks like. So there's those U shapes. We can see at the y-axis, we're starting up here 1/4 unit up. We don't have asymptotes drawn in. In fact, the graph isn't completely drawn in because it gets so vertical. Our calculator can't even graph that for us, but we can see those U shapes both up and down continuing on forever, just like the black curves that we drew over here.